Hello, and welcome to Talk to Me. My name is Heather.
And I'm Kathleen.
And we're here to give you the lowdown on a documentary that you don't have time to watch.
So we're going to do it for you.
Although I would suggest watching this one if you're in the mood to be creeped out. It is the spookiest time of year.
This one,
Did you watch it alone?
I did.
I guess I should say what it is.
Okay, yeah.
Extraordinary. The Stan Romanek Story. It's late.
It's a lot. Also, I watch a lot while I'm...
Where's your brain going?
Where's my brain going? I watch a lot of things as background. You know, somehow people listen to podcasts and stuff like that. I'll, watch Snapped and shit like that as background. I tried to do that with this, but there's so much reading I couldn't do it. I was
also a lot of visual stuff.
Yeah, it was just okay, well, that's not gonna work. So I had to actually watch this. And also I tried watching it one day, and I didn't think I was super tired, but I must have been because I fell asleep within the first 10 minutes. Boring. And I was like, well, fuck. So yeah, it took me 2 times to watch it.
I get it. Luckily, I'd seen it before, so.
But yeah, when some of the real shit starts happening, I was just like,
real quotation marks.
Yeah, but, okay, so when
make that very clear.
When stuff other than just writing or whatever started, I was because at one point I looked down and I was just, oh my god, what are we staring at? And then the window thing happened and I was like, holy fuck. I had glanced away and I turned back and I was just like, oh shit. What the fuck?
Well, it was so creepy because I like to sit here.
What the fuck?
And I don't know
that?
If you notice, there's
an
open window right there.
No, I was definitely creeped out. Yeah. So I watched it alone, but I did not watch it at night.
Oh, I did.
In the dark.
Oh, I did. I love that
weird.
shit. Before we get into that, you can follow us on Twitter and or join our Facebook group. Info for that can be found in the show notes. If you would like to email us comments or suggestions or donate to us at PayPal. You
can also donate us.
You can donate us.
Totally giving it to science.
Our email address is doctomepod@gmail.com. We appreciate any help, whether it's a way we can make this podcast better or just $1.
Give me $1.
Please. We have over 60 episodes. I don't even know anymore.
We're just doing it for free.
Forever. Not even free.
Negative monies. We make negative monies.
Okay, back to this film, which you can find on YouTube for free with ads. I remember the first time I saw it was on Netflix, but that was years ago.
I can see why I was pulled. Oh, God. I'm not even drunk.
I am not asking anyone to pay to watch this. Extraordinary is a generous word to use.
But also, can we just say that the biggest reason behind this is that we went to Roswell to celebrate my birthday, and it was the best time of our lives.
At least the other UFO doc we watched had Robbie Williams in it. The director, producer, writer of this masterpiece is a dude named John Sumple. I know it's shocking to hear he managed to do all of that work, but what is even more shocking is that this isn't a standalone documentary.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, no. There's an Extraordinary series. This one was in 2013. Extraordinary, The Seeding, came out in 2019 and was narrated by Henry
Don't like
Zebrowski.
That name, The Seeding.
Was narrated by Henry Zebrowski of Last Podcast on the Left. And Extraordinary, you're not going to like this one either, The Revelations, just came out last year in 2021. I have not looked into the other two, so I can't tell you if we will ever cover those.
Well, I gotta say, if they're on level with this one, we're definitely doing it.
I don't know if they're good or if it's an Ancient Aliens thing where the further you go along, you kind of realize that the show's a little racist. No, these slaves couldn't have done it. It must have been aliens. No.
God, do you remember the History Channel when it was
when it was history?
Yeah.
Yes. I loved it.
Because my dad used to be really into the History Channel, and like now he's just like, I can't watch it.
Especially like at holidays, because you would learn stuff like cranberries. Like at Thanksgiving, they would show stuff about it. Actually came from craneberries, because if you look at them when they're on the plant, it looks like cranes.
Oh, how cute!
Thanks, History Channel.
I mean, the days when MTV was actually music and history was actually old. History. Ugh.
All right, Grandma, saddle up. Stan is a rough subject to bring up. If you're a believer in aliens and UFOs, you want to talk about this guy because of all this alleged proof that he has for their existence. And then you hear about all his legal troubles that literally start the year this documentary was released.
I texted you, didn't I?
And he's kind of just like swept under the rug. We'll get into all that at the end, obviously, but it's
good, just because I have some shit to say.
I know I can't think about this guy and his proof of aliens, whether real or not, without next thinking of him being a predator. I think this is the craziest story of things that happen after a documentary.
I don't know. We've had where people died.
Yeah, but that's... They're
it's
usually
not crazy
old.
enough.
God, I want to say Robert Blake. That's not his name. The Jinx.
Oh, Robert Durst.
Robert Durst. Yeah. I was like, oh, he died and he was charged with killing the other woman. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. I mean...
It was a given.
It was obviously he killed her. His ex-wife? Yeah. And then he was old, so of course he was going to die. It's not shocking.
Of COVID.
Yeah. Oh, no. We start with...
Lots of reading.
Oh, my God. Stan Romanek is the centerpiece of the most documented extraterrestrial contact story in the world, and the multitude of evidence he has collected over 13 years challenges conventional beliefs. As you're about to see, the evidence is mesmerizing. Having seen this film, do you agree with that statement?
I would not say it's mesmerizing. I don't know that this person knows what mesmerizing means.
It continues. What surprised us most, however, was Stan and Lisa's ability to overcome the gripping fear, emotional pain, and relentless ridicule experiencers encounter. Being abducted must be harrowing, but so is the isolation that constantly follows the misunderstood. Stan is most definitely misunderstood. Well, buddy, you're going to regret having that statement printed on film. Also, that's a lot to read at the beginning of a film.
That's what I'm saying. I was, this can just be the background. No, it can't. I've got to focus.
Yeah.
I got to focus hard. It's a lot of reading.
2 minutes
like a
in,
novel.
I'm already bored.
Yeah, just fuck. It's nap time.
I came here to vibe through my high, and you're making me read. Like, go fuck yourself. And then after all of that, they throw in a quote. Enough.
Get into the movie.
Also, I love how it's always about how these people are just misunderstood, and not just maybe they have shitty personalities that make it hard to deal with them. Guess just wait until you see this footage, because you're gonna have a freaking canary. Do you remember when he said that?
Yeah.
I've never heard that phrase before. He knows it's coronary, right?
It's the cat that ate the canary,
yeah.
And you're gonna have a coronary.
You're gonna have a freaking canary. This film is hard to watch because the dude can't set up a shot to save his life. The first part feels like you're watching Cloverfield.
Which was just a classic.
December 27th, 2000 is when Stan has his first encounter, and instead of trying to film whatever it is and then explaining it, he takes time to explain that he's out taking video of the mountains for his wife Lisa when he saw this thing fly into the sky, and now we're going to try and focus the camera on this thing that was nice enough to just hang out until he was done setting up his story.
Very considerate blip.
Here's the thing. One, it kind of looks like the body of a fly.
I thought it was a firefly.
And two, you can hear an airplane flying by as he captures this thing. Was it just a weird airplane? As I've said before, I believe the UFOs we see are government stuff, not necessarily our government.
Right, they're unidentified flying objects,
yes.
But I do not think that they're necessarily extraterrestrial.
But we have no idea because the airplane noise isn't even acknowledged. Even though it's very loud. And I know you just want to scream about how it's fake, but Stan has a long list of evidence, and even if you just write this stuff down, it's technically physical evidence. It's the way they have this seemed. They want you to know it's over 195 documented events. Did you pause to see some of the things on the list?
I didn't.
One of the things on there is got married in Colorado and moved to Nebraska with Lisa. And another was saw something weird in the sky and the cats acted weird. I don't think aliens made you get married, and yeah, cats are fucking weird. I just don't know how this list proves aliens. So yeah, when we kind of went over our beliefs about aliens, but we haven't discussed it since the Robbie Williams movie. I don't even remember what the movie was called. I just know it's the Robbie Williams alien movie.
Was it Skinwalker Ranch?
Something about Skinwalker.
Yeah, I think it was like the Skinwalker Ranch one.
Robbie Williams movie. Do we believe there could possibly be another planet out there that could have functioning life?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
It's a huge
Space
solar
is huge.
system, yeah.
Do we believe that we've been visited by those life forms? No.
No.
Do we believe that spaceships exist? Yeah, we went to the UFO Museum of Roswell a couple weeks ago.
And it was pretty fucking legit.
Granted, I was super high, and I recall whispering to you, my face is numb. But they would make us pay $5 each to lie to us.
That was the best experience of my entire life. I honestly want to go back just for the winery and to do that tour again.
Yeah, if you're planning a trip to Roswell, it's just a weekend trip.
Yeah, don't
bring the family. My favorite part was us sitting in the car at a light and you going, did that guy steal a kid's bike? And me going, that's what you focused on? Not the giant knife on his hip? I think that sums up Roswell.
Yes, it really does. We did not walk around at night. Initially, we thought that would be a good idea, and then we saw the man with the knife on a kid's bike, and we were like, probably not a good idea for two ladies.
But look, the McDonald's is a spaceship.
And we can eat edibles and walk through a UFO.
Yes. It was fun. I don't want to trash Roswell. It was fun.
It was the best.
But it's a weekend trip.
It is. It's a quick weekend and a fun one.
And the hotel we stayed at, oh my God, could that room be any bigger?
Seriously.
The bathroom, you could put a cot in there. It was huge.
It was better than I had anticipated.
The elevator was weird because one time it smelled like fried chicken, another time it smelled like chlorine. Didn't it smell like chocolate another time?
Yes.
Very bizarre place.
It's magical.
So yeah, we
believe in aliens.
The things we're supposedly seeing in the sky believe is government shit. We're well aware the U.S. government doesn't tell us everything.
Oh, fuck, of course not.
And also, how much of this shit is just drones?
Seriously.
Like, I know public use has only been, like, the last decade, so you don't really think about it, but the first mass-produced drone, because I looked it up, was in 1939, 1940.
Oh, wow.
Just
that's
throwing
like
that out there.
Way before I would have expected.
I'm sure it's not tiny, but you don't think about drones being around that long.
No, not at all.
It's also amazing how patient these UFOs are for him.
They really do a lot of waiting.
They make themselves super obvious to him, and only him, because no one else reports seeing this shit, and gives him plenty of time to find his camera to take pictures. And they also seem to stay in place because they're not blurry pictures.
They're also really stereotypical for what you would expect of aliens.
And then Stan is able to just know these equations, like the Drake equation that's used by scientific community to estimate the number of active communicative civilizations in the Milky Way. Although Stan's version multiplies the probability by 100, but what does that really mean? Like, how do we know it's accurate? One.
I don't do math, so.
And two, it's also not that hard to just memorize equations. Like, there's literally competitions to see who can recite pi the most digits.
I don't math, but.
I don't math either. He just has so many strange drawings and writings that he does in his sleep or hypnosis that just don't really make sense.
I mean, I've sleptwalked to the bathroom.
I have narcolepsy. I do that all the time. Like, during the middle of the day. I wasn't abducted. My brain just sometimes shuts down when I'm in the middle of writing. I don't know how close you paid attention to this, like I did, but they're showing examples of his notes, and off to the side of one of them is just a single word. Cheese.
That's my notes.
I don't know.
I mean, I do a lot of weird shit in my sleep. I have full-on conversations. Like,
oh yeah, I'll have conversations not even know. My husband's like, what are you talking about? It was the middle of the day. I'd zone out. I do shit all the time. Just with narcolepsy, your brain just kind of half asleep. Right, so he's been abducted a bunch and shows pictures of injuries. I don't know what you'd really call them.
So they look like little burns to me.
It looks like if you've fallen off a bike or whatever, where the top layer of your skin kind of gets taken off.
Right, like a little...
the greenish looking scab.
Yeah, like not like a carpet burn, but like a, like when you...
Like literally, I've fallen off my bike, scraped half my face. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, they're like little...
First grade was rough. It was bad. I had it for picture day.
I had a cold sore once for...
Oh my god, I always have cold sores.
And then this one kid was, you have a booger on your lip.
Half my face, Kathleen, sheared off.
Okay, I had a kid tell me I had a booger on my lip, okay?
Half my face.
I had pink eye in one of my school pictures. Pink eye.
Half my face. Like a goddamn Phantom of the Opera.
Pink eye and booger lip. Oh man, childhood's traumatic.
One picture just straight up looks like chemical burns on his face, like he was huffing something.
Okay, so you noticed that too? I thought for sure that he was just huffing something, like when you like do the spray paint in the... Okay,
it just looks like chemical burns.
Yeah, I was okay. So he's just puffing out of a paper bag.
It explains his personality.
I watched Russian Doll. Okay, I know how it works.
One morning, Stan wakes up outside of his locked house with a bloody nose, and he pisses blood.
That's a kidney infection. You might want to see a doctor.
He checks a security camera, and it shows a bright light that seems really focused. And what I mean by that is, if you imagine a light coming out of the sky, you'd think it'd be kind of faint.
It looked like
and take up like a lot of ground space. This footage literally looks like someone's on the roof of the house pointing down one of those bright flashlights you would buy from like an infomercial. Somehow this light just disappears his security camera and slightly dirties the siding on his house. Well, the next day, some company that doesn't exist, I'll get into that later.
Yes, please.
Shows up and replaces the siding on his house, and the landlord says he didn't pay them to do that. So I guess he's trying to say the government showed up and did it. I don't know. It sounds like the exact opposite of what the government would do. Any work.
I like how in the video he's asking them in the date and stuff like that. Way to creep these poor men out.
Another time he's taken and they leave a weird circle in his backyard grass that looks suspiciously the same size as the trampoline that's also in the photo.
Yes.
Almost like that's where the trampoline was sitting for a couple of weeks, and then they moved it. No, strange circles left in the grass.
Crop circles.
And then it's quickly mentioned that also the house is haunted.
By aliens or ghosts?
Just it's haunted. He gets jumped when he's riding his bike to work by some guys, which just made me think of Jerry from Parks and Rec when he was mugged in the park, but really fell into the creek when he was trying to pick up his burrito.
Okay, but can we also talk about how he was saying that, didn't he say something about he was holding his own or whatever, and then they tased him, I think?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I was kicking their ass, and then they tased me.
I read into some of it. His speakers are making a weird buzzing sound, even though they're not turned on. No idea if they're still plugged in, though, which... That's
what truly matters.
Could be a shitty stereo with bad wiring, and if it's like still plugged in, wouldn't that still...
Yeah.
The meds he got from his doctor just melted.
That was like super weird. Who burns their hydrocodone?
Yeah. Instead of just making them disappear, they take the time to melt them. I feel we're shitting on a lot of this so-called evidence, so I will say the orbs are weird. I'll give them that.
I thought they looked like fireflies.
It's not the typical orbs you'd see in ghost videos. It's red, and I would say like fist-sized, and it moves fast and has a little bit of a tail. They were interesting. I'll let them have something.
I mean, I'll let them have it. The fact that
man got mugged.
Was it supposed to be the aliens or like the FBI or the CIA?
I don't know.
I mean, who handles the aliens?
All right. We get to the part that really freaks me out.
God, the window. I was like, this shit's getting good now.
Stan thinks he has a peeping Tom, so he sets up a camera at a window with no blinds or curtains.
Which, like, what the fuck? Are you trying to
Don't
lure
get
in the
that
peeping
logic.
Tom?
Yeah. And he captures, which is probably the most famous Stan Romanek footage, the Boo video. It's a bad name. I hate it.
I hate it so much.
First, Stan is like jumping around the room and takes a peep out the window wearing a shirt that looks like it belonged to his wife. Collar is cut off and it's turned into a V-neck. And then he gets behind the camera and there's like a weird flash, like possibly the video was cut away. And then you see this very stereotypical alien face slowly peek in.
It was a lot of like,
it
was a lot of like waiting, and then it just slowly comes up.
Yeah.
And then it slowly goes back down. And I was just, holy fuck. First of all, I refuse to believe that aliens actually look like that.
It doesn't blink. I think he says later it blinked. It didn't blink. It's just old video camera.
No, it looks like somebody outside the window just
and
pop it up.
You don't even see the whole body. Just a face that just pops up twice. So like, was it crouching all the way down until it got to the window and then just stood up?
I don't fucking know, but it's fucking weird.
And it's not even peeking in the side like you would think. Like, oh, peek in the corner.
No, it's like jump up,
yeah,
jump down, jump up, jump down.
And then Stan comes jumping back in a frame to look out the window, go, what is that thing?
He's like, what the fuck?
Not the reaction I would have. I'd be like, I'm calling the cops. He later said that there's no way this video is fake because he consulted a video expert who said it would have cost, you want to take a guess?
$1,000.
You're an idiot. $50,000 to fake it. It's not a fucking Michael Bay movie, dude.
How does it take $50,000 to fake it? Literally all you need...
A mask popping up.
A mask popping up and popping back down. It is literally...
Maybe pay a teenager $50 to do it. I don't know.
I feel like I could probably get my kid to do it for free.
Fuck. So... we look at random pictures Stan has taken. It turns out these aliens aren't at all shy. Also, they would make great fucking Tool album cover art.
Yes.
He has another video he captures of one peeking in the... I guess peeking. It's not really peeking. It's straight up like, hey.
Just standing there. Fucking weird.
Peeking in the sliding back door. And then it's like a fucking cartoon where someone is on stage blowing it. So then the cane comes out and just like pulls them off on stage left. So he apparently doesn't own blinds or curtains for any of his windows.
Despite the fact that he's worried about aliens.
He's worried about peeping Toms. And yet this creature sees light on in this place and just decides to blatantly peep in. Is smart enough to learn space travel, but just doesn't bother trying to hide himself. Also, how pissed would you be if your husband was just running through the house saying, oh God, oh my God, oh my God, in the middle of the night with a video camera?
Honey, I'm trying to sleep. The aliens are outside, Betty.
They start receiving weird voicemail, which seems really convenient that they let the phone ring until the machine picked up. And the messages are a lot of, come on, get to the point. Just this British computer-generated voice.
It sounds like a computer voice.
Yeah, it's clearly not a person because you can't like really tell vocal changes.
Yeah.
Like when they repeat a word in different sense, it's the same exact. Starseed. Starseed. At one point, he gets it captured on film of him talking to this mysterious caller. And if all of this stuff somehow wasn't faked, this call clearly is. It's awful acting. We're interested in you. Which is like, well, if you're so interested in me, why don't you send me some money? Good one, Stan. That's literally what he says.
Yeah, it's the best.
There's a weird sound on the phone and Stan just passes out, but remembers to hang up the phone. Because somebody calls and his wife answers it and goes, oh, he passed out again. Confused by that one. Kids start randomly popping up, which is especially creepy when you hear about what happens later to Stan.
Yeah, you think?
Also, when you're living in a neighborhood, kids will just pop up. And
sometimes they come in your house.
Yeah, you were just telling me. Cats will just pop up outside. And the photo they show looks so fake. Kids also start calling that don't sound like real children.
No, not at all.
At the very least, it's someone with a voice changer with the pitch up as high as it'll go. A lot of the evidence is, we just happened to catch something in this poorly angled picture. Like, literally one of the pictures of evidence of this little girl that could also be a middle-aged woman, but whatever. They're just taking pictures taking pictures of each other sitting in a chair, and yet the main subject of the picture isn't even in the middle of any of the pictures. It's like one half of the picture. Why would you take a picture like that? Unless you knew you're trying to get something over on this side.
Why would you say that, Heather?
It's like hard to explain, but you can tell they didn't just happen to get this one little girl. The shot was clearly set up for you to be able to pick her out. Also,
she's the main focus.
Where are the alien parents of this child? Just wandering around?
Well, they get to that, Heather.
Who do you call to report neglect on alien children?
Yes, Area 51. I'd like to report a child abandoned.
These kids are just running around during the day, during the night, and jumping on phone calls.
Where is the alien school?
I know the straps like we have on the doors to keep our toddler from going out the front was a little more than I would have liked to spend, but hey, the safety of your children is priceless.
especially when they're alien-human hybrids.
Yeah.
Or human-human hybrids? I don't know. I don't know how that works.
We're thinking too much about it.
Alien-human?
Well, then it would just be alien-human hybrid. I think the human-human kind of cancels it out to be just one human.
But it's genetically two different humans.
They're still human.
Paternity, and maternity.
Yeah, that I don't.
Did they mix the semen?
I don't know.
That must be it. They must have mixed the semen.
They just put it in like a salad strainer and just. A strange-looking girl even shows up at a UFO conference Stan was attending. I feel like that's the kind of shit people at UFO conferences would be looking out for, and somehow this wasn't breaking news. Also,
there's a weird girl at the conference.
Why do you have to call out this poor girl and her weird eyebrows?
They took a picture.
Like Stan Romanek is some kind of catch.
She had a weird face.
And then we're told by his friends that Stan is just a normal guy. Remember that for later because that guy's going to feel like an idiot. Stan was just a normal guy who grew up in a military family, so they moved around often. He was maybe I am too. He was dyslexic, which wasn't really which really wasn't known about back then, and quote unquote isn't considered a learning disability even now. It is.
Oh my god. When he said that I was like, what?
And just casually mentions that as a child he was put in special ed classes with the
other
kids. Just throws that word out there.
Yeah.
It was one of those where you're like, oh, whoa, what?
Yeah. We don't say that word anymore at all.
Makes me very uncomfortable. This film came out in 2013. It's not like this was 30 years ago.
No, we weren't saying that word at all.
We knew
back
9
then.
years ago it was not okay.
Yeah.
Again, military family, and yet somehow his family ended up somewhere where he was dealing with the Crips and the Bloods growing up and was constantly being stabbed. Anyway, he was the only white kid in the neighborhood, so he had to toughen up and beat up his high school principal. He was quite the storyteller. So he goes back to talk about his first experience when he was taping and saw that object in the sky. And basically what he's describing sounds an awful lot like how a weather balloon might move around in the wind. I hate that it sounds like I'm just finding an excuse to not believe, but even with ghosts, I believe in ghosts, but there's plenty of times where I'm watching my boy, Zachy B, and I can find explanations for things.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a situation, there's usually a reasonable explanation.
Yeah. I'm not here to say all the stuff is real or all this stuff is fake. And maybe Stan started off with real evidence of things, but then over time started faking more and more because he loves this attention. He says he didn't believe in aliens, but his wife Lisa did, which when he said they met online, I assumed it was like a UFO chat room or message board.
They meet on Tinder.
The video he took was in December of 2000, so they had already been chatting. So where the fuck did they meet online before 2000 if it wasn't like about UFOs?
It was like an AOL chat room.
But what chat room?
UFOs.
But it wasn't UFOs. He didn't believe. Bigfoot.
It was Bigfoot.
Mothman.
The Yeti.
I do want to go to that place in West Virginia, like the Mothman place. There's like a restaurant that sells a giant pizza.
Oh my god.
And it's got the ingredients to make it look like Mothman. It's adorable.
Bucket list.
But I just don't know if I want to go to West Virginia.
Is lead wiggle. I said is lead wiggle there.
West Virginia?
Fuck no.
God. Anyway, so he recorded that video December 2000, still didn't believe in UFOs, whatever. September 2001, it's not about what you think it's going to be about.
It is not.
In the middle of the night, there's a knock on his door, and his sister answers it, and there's 3 alien creatures standing there. The story makes no fucking sense. He stated when he was taking that video, there were 30 other people standing around watching the thing in the sky, and now 9 months later, these aliens show up at his door when he doesn't even believe in aliens. And also, why are you just walking around in the middle of the night knocking on doors? I don't get it. I want to believe. I really do, but none of it makes sense. Anyway, the aliens at his front door kidnap him, and he feels a tapping on his head, and he wakes up somewhere else.
As one does.
Where's his sister to verify the story, first off?
My brother was kidnapped by aliens.
Honestly, it just sounds like he has a sleep disorder.
Or a drug problem.
Sleepwalking with the sort of sleep paralysis. With narcolepsy, you have a lot of visual and auditory hallucinations, and they seem absolutely real when they happen. Just like, what's the other?
Sleep paralysis?
Yeah. It's just like that. So sleep disorders are weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what this sounds like.
Or a drug problem.
We don't know. Anyway, he keeps getting abducted, and it seems very quickly these abductions turn sexual.
As one does.
They just want that sweet, sweet, sweet baby goo that he's got. He talks about...
I mean, he was peeing blood. Do you think that was sexual then?
What was Lisa's feelings on this?
We know how she felt about some aspects.
He talks about waking up in this room full of kids, and this one girl is hugging on his leg, and she's beautiful. And she also looks like him.
Well, I thought that was a little conceited.
like, you don't look at this guy's face and go, hubba, hubba.
But the child was beautiful.
I know this is an auditory form of entertainment, but...
To be clear, Heather is doing the glasses thing.
Like in cartoons.
Yeah.
So at some speaking event, he stumbles upon Victoria, who is the woman he remembers constantly seeing from his abductions. Did he fuck her?
I feel like he probably tried.
She is attractive.
She is. His wife was definitely
Lisa
not
seems
having it.
Really upset about their relationship. I know they talked about having these kids together that like the aliens have or whatever. I don't know.
That's
so
what
weird.
I'm so confused, because he said he kind of had big eyes, so like it's a mix of him and Lisa, but also a mix of the aliens.
No, him and Victoria.
Oh, sorry, Victoria. Yeah.
Oh no, Lisa's not a part of this.
Yeah, she's not
With
cool
that hair.
How dare those aliens abduct a man and make him mix seed with some other woman?
Make him cheat on his wife.
They had a special bond, and Lisa understood that, but she definitely was jealous.
Why'd you cheat on your husband? Aliens. Aliens made me do it.
I don't remember doing it, but we have a bunch of kids together.
Aliens.
Yeah, so they apparently formed a special bond, and Lisa was not having it.
Lisa has every reason to be upset, by the way, because these two just like to sneak off together. And I love that everyone is just in awe that Lisa doesn't snap and kill the both of them. How about instead we talk about how shitty Stan is as a husband for just ignoring his wife's emotional well-being?
But they have a special bond, Heather. They have alien babies.
I also noticed that Lisa is really good at staring at the camera as she's talking until she brings up that she won't lie for her husband.
Yeah.
Okay, you noticed it
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Her eyes just like dart off to the side. Just throwing that out there. And I love that we get more clarity for the sighting incident, and he's upset that they won't let him rummage through the trash to grab a piece of siding, and they won't acknowledge the camera while he's recording them putting up new
some
siding.
weird man is filming them.
They don't want you cutting your hand on garbage or like, whatever, rummaging through trash. And why the fuck would they put on a skit while you're recording them?
I'm doing my job, man.
They're trying to work. Well, when I tried to walk around to get a better view of them on the camera, they turned away. Leave them the fuck alone, dude. They don't want to be on some creepy guy's camera. I can't imagine somebody recording me while I'm trying to work and getting upset that I don't want to be filmed. It's weird. And he also thinks it's weird they shop vac the yard. But is it? Like, maybe they're really respectful that you have kids and they don't want to leave something that could hurt
like a fucking
kids.
nail.
Yeah. He says that they investigated and the company doesn't exist, but I did find a company that matches closely. He says it was Bob's Siding from Grand Island, and I found a company that operated around the same time called BAC Siding and Windows that owned by a man named Bob and was located in Grand Island. So I don't know.
I imagine he probably just changed the name of his company.
And also if it was like a new company at the time, like maybe you just throw something on the van and then once you have more money, you kind of spruce it up.
Yeah. Make it sound fancier.
Just throwing that out there. He goes on again about when he was jumped while he was riding his bike. This documentary is way longer than it needs to be because he keeps going back to incidents to elaborate instead of just saying everything at one time. We don't need a back and forth. Right, so he's near a military base and gets jumped by dudes who look like they are in the military. Well, that checks out. So instead of assuming they're either bored, drunk, or both, and he has a super punchable face, it's the government or aliens attacking him because he ignored a phone message from the British robot warning him where he was living wasn't safe. And he is just amazed that they were able to find him parking his bike in the back parking lot of where he worked. They watched you riding your bike, and it's easy to assume a building would have a back parking lot. I don't understand his logic. One of the guys told him to keep his mouth shut because I can imagine him just like immediately screaming when he feels he's in danger.
He knows how to fight, okay, Heather? He can stand up for himself.
He fought with 3 guys and all he had was a broken nose and a broken wrist, which those are injuries you can get for falling off a bike. Another time he fell 12 feet off a ladder and landed on a wheelbarrow full of bricks and just sprained his knee.
Didn't the aliens fix it, though?
Yeah, he was scheduled for surgery in the coming week, but before that could happen, he was abducted again and his knee was fixed. Like, he's more focused on the aliens fixing his knee than he is falling 12 feet off a ladder onto a pile of bricks, and he just has a bruised knee.
I mean, it was bad enough they were apparently going to operate.
But it makes it sound like his leg was mangled from this fall, but the doctor's note seemed like pretty mundane. But hey, fixed leg for free and a bottle of Vicodin. You're on top, buddy. Also,
in the U.S. healthcare? Oh my God, he's winning.
Stan doesn't understand the difference between aliens and ghosts. Like, I guess his doctor's assistant told Stan he needed to call the Ghostbusters to figure out why his leg was better. And Stan was shocked because he never told him about the E.T. Where is the connection in that?
Clearly, ghosts come from space.
It is just frustrating how he tries to connect things when there's, like, no connection. He said Ghostbuster, but he just meant anything weird.
Or maybe they're just joking around.
Yes.
He's fucking crazy.
It's like how moms call every game system a Game Boy or Nintendo. It's just a catch-all term. He talks about that window peeping video and how it went on for months before he finally captured it on film, and initially he thought it was a peeping Tom trying to get a glimpse of his stepdaughter. It went on for months and you didn't think about buying fucking blinds or curtains.
Or calling the police.
And you wonder why there are skeptics. There was another time where No, he did call the cops at one point, didn't he? Because then they found the tiny little footprints outside.
I thought that was something else.
There was another time where his stepson had some friends sleeping over, and sometime during the night, Stan wakes up to see someone naked running through his house, and his logic...
It must be my stepson.
His logic was to grab a camera to embarrass whoever this minor might be running through his house naked.
He thought it was his stepson, and he wanted pictures.
Without even knowing what later happens to Stan. That's fucking weird.
I immediately text you, what the fuck? Now it makes sense.
So that's why he stumbled upon that creature staring through the back door, not trying to hide at all. He says it's blinking, but again, I don't see that.
No. It's just like
and then
not
the set's
moving.
over and it's pulled off stage. So at this point, Stan is very well known in the UFO community, and they all come to some kind of agreement that Stan is not allowed to go anywhere by himself because all this shit just happens to happen when there's nobody around to verify. And what immediately happens, Kathleen?
They leave him alone, god damn it. Every fucking time.
Stan goes off on his own like a goddamn sitcom. It was 9 o'clock one night and it was raining outside when Stan sees this little girl standing in his driveway, doesn't tell anybody else to verify it. I guess no one knew what kind of creep he was and just let him go outside by himself. It's so strange he didn't have a flashlight on him, but he just happened to have his camera on him. So he starts taking pictures to use the flash to see this girl. And she, of course, takes off because can you imagine if you were lost outside at night in the rain and some dude just comes walking towards you, taking pictures and blinding you with the flash? He gets one good picture of her peeking out from behind a tree, and everyone at this party who's supposed to keep a fucking eye on this guy see the picture and are like, oh my god, it's amazing. Let's upload it on the computer so we can take a better look at it. As he's walking to his computer, the picture just magically vanishes. And I know what you're thinking. He was worried this fake picture would look ultra fake if it was blown up on the computer screen and everyone would know it was a fake, and so he deleted it. Shut the fuck up, Kathleen. It was his alien daughter that came to visit him and was fine with almost being seen by all these people at this party while she stood outside of her dad's house.
No
But
pictures,
don't you
please.
dare try to take a picture of her.
No pictures, please. No flash photography.
The last section of this film really takes a nosedive.
Does it, Heather? Does it really?
It's just testimony from people who talked to Stan or knew him.
He's a good guy.
I like the crazy looking dude who says that Stan took a test that said he had PTSD, and this guy was just like, could it have been from his marriage? Yeah, but it could have also been from UFOs. But yeah, he says Stan did great on all these tests he gave him, and Stan is trustworthy. All I could think about is that story Ed Kemper told about how he had the head of one of his victims in the trunk of the car when he was visiting with his probation psychiatrist or whatever, and they still signed off that, yeah, he was fixed. They also interviewed Dr. Leo Sprinkle, who has the greatest name ever, and was also heavily involved with the Travis Walton incident, which I'm sure you remember that whole section devoted to him at the UFO Museum. But yeah, the end kind of fizzles out with old guys droning on and on about why we should believe Stan. One thing I thought was weird is Stan talked about finding implants in him over the years, and this doesn't cover that at all.
What?
I don't recall them really discussing that.
I need to hear more about these implants.
Do you?
Yes. I hope they were birth control implants.
Now let's get into all the shit that happened afterwards that we've been hinting about. It's a lot. Thank you, Wikipedia. On February 13th, 2014, Romanek was arrested after turning himself in Larimer County Jail on charges of possessing and distributing child pornography. The outcome of a 8-month investigation launched by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. More than 300 images as well as video files depicting child pornography were found on Romanek's computers.
Did the aliens put it there?
I don't know. After appearing at Larimer County Courthouse, Romanek was released on a $20,000 personal reconnaissance bond. In March 2016, he pled not guilty to both charges after refusing a plea deal. On August 8, 2017, Romanek was found guilty of felony possession of child pornography, but not guilty of distributing it. His sentencing was held December 14, 2017, where he was sentenced to serve 2 years in the Larimer County Community Corrections halfway house and to register as a sex offender. All that, and he only got 2 years.
That's pretty ridiculous.
He reported immediately to jail to wait for space to become available at the facility. As a sex offender, he is now subject to 10 years of intensive supervised probation, not allowed to use computers or electronic devices unmonitored. That's God, yeah.
Oh my God. That's really you know what? This is a fucking setup.
And not allowed contact with children under age 18 without approval from the Community Corrections Program. February 2014, Romanek's wife Lisa said, "We will be taking ufology into the courtroom." After the trial, the defense attorney, Colorado law firm McClintock and McClintock, stated that they did not do this because it was not relevant to the case. They advised Romanek to appeal the conviction and hire a new defense counsel to handle the appeal case, which that's standard. Following the announcement, Lisa said they plan to file a notice of appeal within a 45-day period. Romanek made public allegations that the government had planted the evidence on his computer. At the sentencing hearing, Deputy District Attorney Joshua Ritter accused him of deception to try to place blame on others and doctoring evidence in the form of videos falsely alleging that his computer had been hacked. This is like the worst part, I think. Ritter disclosed that Romanek had even tried to frame his stepson for placing the pornography on the computer.
Wow.
The prosecutor pointed out that even the defense team would not have allowed such fabricated evidence in court. The implementation of Romanek's mandatory sex offender program had been delayed several times and dragged out, with him making unverified claims that the physical illness was keeping him from completely complying with the court dates. After claims of illness caused him to miss several court dates during his original sentence, Romanek was resentenced on November 30th, 2020 to 10 more years of intense supervised probation. The judge expressed concern that Romanek was not taking responsibility for his crimes.
You think?
So this is like still an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Again, he just tried to take pictures of naked kids running through his house in the middle of the night.
But that wasn't weird at all. Yeah. I immediately, like when he said, I was like, what the fuck? It's a setup. Obviously, the American government is trying to shut it down so that we don't believe him, and he won't have access to technology to film more alien sightings.
It's an interesting documentary. The aliens peeping in, like, they're clearly fake. It's still creepy.
Oh, God, of course. It's like watching a scary movie when you get a jump scare. Of course, it's not real. You know it's going to happen, but you're still going to get scared.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every
I've watched
second
it twice
of it.
now. I never want to watch it again.
That's pretty funny, though.
That was a long one. But you know what? We had weeks and weeks off. Because of my dead dad.
God damn it, Heather.
We will be back next week. Sins of Our Mother.
Sins of Our Mother. We'll do it.
We'll do it.
There's been a lot of like new documentaries out lately. I feel like we have a lot of material to cover. I mean, if we want to do Dahmer tapes, that one's...
Do we, though?
It's pretty
I think
hyped.
Everybody knows what happened at this point.
Okay, you know what? I will say, with the new Dahmer series, a lot of people didn't know that shit. It's brought a lot of light to, you know...
Maybe we can do like we did with the Gacy one, where just bring up some things we didn't know. Don't need to cover the whole thing.
No, there's not really any new insight that we didn't already know.
I mean, he did it.
There is.
The cops suck.
No doubt. Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Don't look out windows at night.
Close your blinds. You're freaking me out. I don't ever open my blinds at night. That is something I'm truly traumatized.
I don't know. I feel like maybe because it's the backyard. I'm like,
fuck
if
yeah.
somebody tries
My
to climb
backyard
that fence,
is
that
the
fence would
scariest.
I just feel like our fence would collapse if anybody tried.
I mean, ours would too, but I'm still scared.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Doc to Me. The opening music is by Twisterium. For comments or suggestions, we can be reached by email at doctomepod@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at doctomepod and find a link to our Facebook group in the show notes. Thank you.